Hey guys, welcome back to Tomatoes, Poppies, and Everything Gardening. This is part 2 of my May total garden tour, and I had to break it in two because it's about 45 plus minutes long. This is the second half, and I'm picking up right where we left off. You just saw those Canterbury bells. They're so beautiful, and I've got some more of those. I think they're called spring blush peas. Maybe it's Magnolia. I'm gonna have to look that up. But I need to harvest those. I've got heuchera over here I need to divide at some point. I'll probably wait till fall. We've got some tomatoes here next to the fence, and they need to be tied up. And then you've got a view of my just uncontrolled weedy, it's not really weeds, it's cilantro and carrots and all kinds of like radishes that have flowered. I need to get in there and clean up from spring so that my summer stuff can flourish. You can see my sky pencils in the background there have really put on a lot of growth. I do have some mint and actually beans in those black pots on the very back side. And we'll get a closer look at those maybe in the next garden tour video. You can see I've got 4 tomatoes in that 4x4 bed there and some onions that are producing seeds. I do have some young onions that need to get planted, so I think once I clean all this area up, that is where most of those will go. Here's another tomato. And there is my tromboncino squash, and he looks like he's getting big. And I have my chocolate Tasmanian sucker that I cut off of my indoor plant a while back. He is huge now and has lots of blossoms. And I think right now I'm focusing on the Brussels sprout. You can see down there at the bottom, there's a more clear view of the actual little Brussels. So hopefully maybe in like, I don't know, 5 to 7 plus days, I will get to harvest those. And wow, look at all these carrot flowers. They're just unstoppable. I kind of regret just sprinkling carrot seeds everywhere. Here are my cherry tomatoes on the inside of the fence. And more radish flowers. I literally cannot get back in this area right now. I'm going to have to get my pruners and just start cutting to access my raised bed. Well, let's see. I thought I was going to walk through the fence. Yes. Okay, you can see some of the clover blend that I planted. What was that? Early winter? Late fall? And I've got some peppers in here. I think that's paprika pepper. In this one, I also have a couple peppers. I think those are pepperoncini. But one thing that kind of like astonished me was when I came home from my trip and I saw my thyme. It has taken over the entire container, which is shocking. So I'm going to cut that all back, harvest it, dry it, put it in the pantry. Here's the mortgage lifter. He's got some blossoms starting. And there are my onions that I desperately need to get in the ground. You can see where the deer chopped the tops off of those sunflowers. They may still recover. I have had sunflowers recover before from deer. And you got a peek over there at my neighbor's garden that I kind of instigated. So now they've got their own little secret garden that we don't want the HOA to find out about. So here's a view of the path into my raised bed area. And you can see I just can't even get in there. So I've got a lot of work to do and little time. So, and then here's some more of our tomatoes. Looks like some of a bunch of onions are also going to seed. And this is the squash experiment with window screen replacement that I'm trying to keep the borers out and away from that squash plant. We just looked at the Ace 55 there. I've got a Dr. Witchy's and a Earl's in the background. That's a Bradley tomato. And look at this little piggy planter. It has my ornamental oregano, which is really thriving with that little bit of shade from the tomatoes. I've also got some nasturtium here blooming. I love that color. It's so pretty. I think I might have 2 planters of the nasturtium there, it looked like. And on the other side is where I potted up some of those clearance hardy hibiscus. If you remember, back in the winter I did that. Here's my stevia. It seems to want a little bit of sun protection, so I kind of tucked it back in there. Sunflower, and let's see. What am I trying to show y'all here? Oh, I think I wanted to walk over and show you how the hellebore and my primrose were doing after that video I made on cleaning up the pot, pruning, getting it ready for summer. And they look nice. I drug my daughter's dragon fruit out of the house and put it outside to get used to the sun and the shade. Eventually it's going to move to the back deck where it will get more sun. You can see the clover blend came in nicely in this section. This used to be an L-shaped raised bed area that the HOA made me take down last October. Let's see, so I'm showing you the dill and the parsley in the background that I planted for the butterflies. I've got lots of snapdragons that overwintered and are perennial here. I've got some hollyhocks in the far background. And just a mix of the aster I planted that I grew from seed and some annual dahlias. I put in some seeds for cucumber right before I left, and they have germinated. This is my mountain mint. It's looking really pretty. And then here are two different varieties of eggplant. I've got Florida high bush, and this one is black beauty. So I'm doing them side by side so I can compare, see which I like the best. So don't know why, but a lot of those snapdragons are falling over in this bed. Here's a view of the driveway. I do want to spray paint that butterfly bench black. I think the white is just kind of an eyesore. And I'm kind of panning over to the front so you can get kind of a view. You can see I do have a lot of stuff out that should be put away. Like I need to mulch, get rid of the mulch bags. I need to get rid of that cardboard. It's just sitting there looking ugly. And then here we go. We're looking at the poppies. Well, I thought we were. Yeah, so we've got the snapdragons that are red. There are mountain daisies about ready to bud up. And then my poppies. A lot of them have already bloomed. But thankfully, I did get to see the tail end of a lot of them before they lost their petals. They're just so precious and pretty. And I'm showing you what they look like. After the petals fall off, you'll have this ugly kind of seed head, and then it turns brown. And when it turns brown and you get little windows up at the top, that is when it's ready to harvest and collect the seeds. And I've got some ornamental grasses back in this area. These are Maltese cross. It's a beautiful perennial. I'm really happy that I started those a couple years ago. Really pretty. Lots of dill and parsley back there, and there's Tonto up there just patiently waiting. So this planter, hold on, I got a cough. This planter has feverfew and a 9 bark in it, but for some reason I decided to tuck a fish pepper back there, and I really don't think he's getting enough sun. So I may have to rotate that planter, and but there's some ants at the bottom of that planter I need to work on first, like massive amount of ants. Here's my artichoke that has been alive for like, I don't know, 3 years. And then some zebra grass behind the bench. There are weeds that I need to pull or process. I think this one is actually good for bee stings. And, oh goodness, more poppies. There we go. Look at how pretty they look, just kind of fluttering in the wind. I don't know, maybe next year I'll add some different color poppies in. I just, purple's my favorite color. But they're just so precious. And then I planted all of my gomphrena right here. That's the strawberry fields that I started from seed. They have really grown in the last couple weeks, so I hope they will take off. Penstemon there is looking gorgeous also. I divided that when I bought it at the nursery and put half in a planter and half in the ground. Here's a yellow dahlia. It's an annual, but I put it with my jalapeno, and I think it'll be a nice, pretty punch of color there next to it. And just a shrub there. You guys missed out on my irises. It was Siberian irises. They're beautiful purple. They've already bloomed. I'll put a picture up over top of that area. And this is marshmallow plant. It has a beautiful delicate flower too. And I've got tons of oregano over here. I have 2 patches of oregano. I have too much. I really probably should cut it back. And this is all the Siberian irises. And then we move into the yarrow. And the yarrow, I have it in many different spots in the yard, but it's starting to flower and look pretty. Let's see, I'm spinning around here. There's another view of the oregano. But tucked in front of this crepe myrtle are these gorgeous lilies. Look at that. They are just precious. I love those. I need to weed out this crepe myrtle. Again, it's putting off a lot of suckers. I really don't think I'll ever plant on purpose a crepe myrtle. They are just a pain in the butt. And I do not recommend them at all. So that elephant ear that I planted a few weeks ago, I have not seen any signs of it germinating. We just passed over my hummingbird mint. I have two right there by the sewer drain thing. And it's really pretty when it starts to bloom. I've got a huge, massive rosemary shrub there behind the artichoke that I kind of tucked there. I thought that'd be a good spot for him. Here's the blue flax. It does open in the morning. I should have some more buds come open in the morning. So it blooms for one day, those flowers fall off and die, and then the next day you should get more. And then an overview of like my cottage garden flower area down by my mailbox. For some reason my larkspur was really sparse this year. Normally it's very, very full and gorgeous, but it's quite thin this year. I don't understand that. So maybe I need to put some more seeds out this fall. And I think I'm going to come down here. There's normally a path, but everything has grown in so much that I can't even hardly see my path anymore. Oh, and there are, I think that's dragonbeard. I planted a few of those. They're really taking off very slowly though. We'll see how they turn out. They're perennial. So I think I'm going to squeeze through here and then give you a forward view of the area we just looked at. And you can see the blanket flowers there on the right, and now they're going to be in the front. The bees love them. And there's tickseed, larkspur, there's a white gara in the back, and then there's this shrub thing I saved off the clearance rack at Lowe's. I forgot the name of it though. Here's some more of that tickseed I grew from seed, I think last year. And tickseed never does what I want it to. It said it would be 18 to 24 inches tall, and it's not. It's totally not. So I spun there in the driveway just so I could show you the other side, which I also have a little larkspur and some California poppies. This is sea holly, and then I had some Russian sage, more yarrow, which it looks so pretty there. I'm glad I did that last year and moved it. And then the Midnight Marvel hardy hibiscus is coming up gorgeous. And then to my left here is my red twig dogwood. I have never seen one get this big. Mine is just massive. I don't know if I'm just feeding it too well. I don't know. Here is some self-seeded lemon mint. And I had this as a plant 2 years ago. I don't know why it skipped a whole year and decided it would start growing, but the seeds came from over on the other side of the driveway. There's my spirea planter here with some pansies and other little cute things. I need to take that derby sign down. It is way past derby. I grew some toothache plants, so that's what those little guys are there. And some celosia that I just bought at the store. I think that's a barberry bush. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I got it on clearance a few years ago. I think it looks cute though with the spirea. It really matches. I've seen a lot of pollinators on these shrubs, the spirea, and I was kind of finding a butterfly there too. He kept flying away from me. Oh, there's a bee. Okay. And let's see, on the back side of that red twig is a hollyhock. It's a champagne colored hollyhock. It came back from last year. Can't wait to see it. And I planted some stuff right here. I grew these from seed this year. I don't remember what they are, but I remember the color would look well with what I have going on in this particular bed. And some more larkspur. It's fallen down, not sure why. But you can see it is just pretty, so pretty. I did not seed any larkspur for the last 2 years. All that you see is completely self-seeded and spread all on its own, as well as a lot of the poppies. I did seed with poppies in January, but for the most part, a lot of these are self-seeded. And also these bachelor buttons. I did not plant my bachelor buttons. They self-seeded themselves last summer, and I think they placed themselves really well this year. I did plant some Mexican sunflower. Did not germinate. I've had so much trouble with that the last 2 years. I don't know why. I'm going to have to look into what I'm doing wrong, because the first year or two I did great. It grew well. It was a massive bush. I just can't seem to get it to grow anymore. Maybe my seeds are old. Maybe that's the problem, because it is the same seed pack. So I forgot to show y'all the front view to the right of the mailbox, to the right of the driveway. So I'm walking back over here. That was an ice plant down there. And there's some California poppy. More California poppy. It's almost like a perennial here. And a view of the larkspur as it moves in the wind. Definitely need more next year. And another interesting thing that happened, I had camellia come back. Not camellia. Chamomile. There it is, right there, the chamomile. It self-seeded, but it was from 2 years ago, just like the lemon mint. I don't understand that at all. So it skipped a whole year. I don't know if those seeds lay dormant all that time. I find that hard to believe, but I did not plant any last year, and now I have both the lemon mint and the chamomile. And I'm showing you a view of this, the difference between yards. So my neighbor's is pretty sparse. And then I just have like this total jungle of growth everywhere. In addition to weeds. So I really do need to get out there and tackle those. Because you're not allowed to have weeds in my HOA. Unfortunately. I don't know. I'm sure my landscaping style is a bit too wild for them, and lanky and just all over the place. So you can see I've got my butterfly bush there. I did not prune it this year. I should have, but I wonder if it's too late now. And then my pineapple sage has come back. Even though I'm a zone 7, it did come back for the last 2 or 3 years. Here's a straw flower that self-seeded itself last year. And then I have a mix of straw flowers down in there. And then these are all spider flowers that self-seeded. Got some rue in that pot with my peppers. And I have a peony here. And then these are Stargazer lilies. And I am so thankful they came up. That took forever. I planted those not last summer, the fall before that. And finally they germinated. I really thought I had lost them, but they're there. And let's see, what am I looking at here? I've just got random poppies. And of course Jeffrey's following me. And I've got some potted hardy hibiscus and some peppers right there. I put my hot peppers in the front yard because I don't think the deer will bother them. You missed out on the painted daisies. They were so pretty when they bloomed. I'll put pictures up. And then in these front barrels here, I've got my red mustard. It's starting to seed though, or flower, and then it will eventually seed. So I'm going to go ahead and harvest that. Here are some other perennial flowers, just a mix that I've got on this side. I have phlox, I have the blanket flower, I have these yellow perennial flowers. I don't remember the name though. And then up here, towards the front of the house, this is my gorgeous mine bark that I love. The patio peach, which matches it so well. And this year we have a bunch of patio peach babies, and I'm going to pot those up. And there's a lot of celosia in this bed. And let's see, gladolias that I tried to pull all of those up last year, but they came back. I think I'll try to pull them again and see if I can get them out of that bed. And these two planters here at the front, I'm going to wipe them clean. I'm going to take everything out, move these lilies, and we are going to do sweet potato slips in there in a couple days. I just need to go get some more dirt and figure out where I'm going to move everything that's in there now. And so I did work on this area about 2 weeks ago. I freshened up all the pots on the front porch. I planted my caladium bulbs that I had saved last fall. And I just kind of freshened everything up, pruned a little, put in new soil, fertilized, weeded those pots. These are orange marmalade lilies that are so cute. This area I haven't worked on yet. It's still weeded and not mulched. But this side of the front porch, I did weed and mulch and move some things around and tried to tidy up some of the containers. You can see my sunshine ligustum there in the back. This is a mock orange. I put my pineapple mint that I got in the mail a couple weeks ago there. And these are ground roses with snapdragons mixed in. And then I've got lemon balm here. I still need to kind of clean that up. And this is where I left off, right here behind the yarrow. It's where I kind of stopped all that process that day. And I need to get back out there because, as you can tell, and there's some milkweed there, everything is a mess. The shrub that this was supporting, this trellis, that shrub just knocked it over. And I need to get some really tall, long gloves on to work on this. And knock down my linaria and some other painted daisy plants in there. And the peony back there, it was so gorgeous. I'll put pictures up here because it was just stunning. Azaleas are done blooming. I need to, you're supposed to prune those right after blooming and fertilize. So I need to do that. Got some columbine back here. And there's a view of the backyard. And so we're almost done, guys. What I'm going to do now is just walk straight down. We're going to pass a dogwood tree, and it was a really gorgeous blooming tree this spring. Not sure if I showed that in any tours, but it was so pretty. And then I've got this bridal bush shrub, and it was also gorgeous when it was blooming. And then I moved these soapwort in front of this shrub. I thought that would be a good spot for them. Here are my spice hardy hibiscus. It's really pretty color. This is some more yarrow, but a different type. I think it's terracotta. And then I've got my feverfew here I need to trim back. And I don't know what that is. But that is a self-seeded something. Squash. I'm not sure yet. I had extra eggplants, so I just kind of tucked them here in the back of this bed because I didn't think anybody would see them there. And I did put down a big old pile of compost before we went on our trip and stuck some roselle hibiscus flower seeds in there, and 2 sprouted, so that's great. And they are heavy feeders, that's why I use compost. And you can see this is a total mess in this area. Definitely need to spend some time in here weeding. Some more yarrow. And yeah, I think I'm going to move all my catmint from the backyard deck containers under that tree there. I think that'll be a pretty spot for it. And goodness, abelia. And what is this? Oh, some more Maltese cross. And I have my clematis there. It did bloom. It was really pretty. And I think that those seeds that we planted about a week and a half ago have germinated. And that was for the Malabar spinach. So I saw one of those have germinated. This is no, it's not Alaskan daisy. What is that? Shasta daisy. It's getting ready to flower. This is dianthus. And I've got some more sea holly here in the front. And yeah, so I think I'm going to focus on that for a second because a couple of them are starting to turn to their pretty steel blue color. And this is a very prickly, kind of almost smelly plant. So it's also a good plant to help keep deer away. And I think that's it, guys. I think that's